Hello, everybody, and welcome to the Creative Smartphone Photography Show. This is me. I would be Sab in Paris, and I'm starting these shows up again. It's been a long time. I used to do photography shows every week, and they were great. And then I did something else, and now I'm back to do these again. I don't know if it's going to be every week or every 2 weeks, maybe, because I've got a few things on, and I'm going to tell you what those things are. So this is my mug. I'd like you all, well, actually, this isn't a Zoom call, so I can't see your mugs, but have a really nice mug with you. It's important. So this show is called the Creative Smartphone Photography Show, and it's going to be devoted to not necessarily smartphone photography in general, but the group I've created on Facebook is called the Creative Smartphone Photography Group. It's not because I don't know anything about normal photography. And to be honest, for me, whatever you have in your hand, I don't even have it in my hand, is almost irrelevant when it comes to getting a great image. It's almost irrelevant. Okay, you need to master the tool. But to be honest, the best images are made in the heart and the head first, and then if you've got something that can take reasonable images, that's fine. But I called it the Creative Smartphone Photography Group. I'm calling this the Creative Smartphone Photography Show because I want as many people as possible to enjoy photography. It's a wonderful thing. And everybody almost has a smartphone on them. And whether they realize it or not, the smartphone these days, it's a really good camera. And it can even do some stuff that traditional fancy cameras can't. So smartphones are cool. I learned my photography on little cameras, then on big cameras. And then I moved over slowly to smartphones when I realized, once the quality got good, and I realized, wow, actually, I can take good shots. And I was taking shots before. So this isn't about smartphones, really. It's about photography. What is photography, really? Well, for me, it's about creating a link between two people, the person who has taken the photograph and decided to share it, and the person who sees it. That's what photography is for me. Nothing more, nothing less. But that's pretty good. And it's certainly not about how many pixels has your camera got. Although for some people, that's what photography is. So I'm not one of those, and that's fine. I'm going to show you lots of photographs on these shows. Some of mine, some of yours, and some from other people who happen to come across my mind, and I think that would be a great photograph to share. So, of course, I'm Sab, and I've been in Paris for many years, and I've been taking photographs for many years, and I publish a photograph every day. Normally, it's from the streets of Paris or something in Paris. Occasionally, it's not, but the whole focus, it's called the Paris Photo Chronicles, and I've done various projects like this. The current one of one photo a day has been going on for 4 years and counting. And it's a slightly crazy project because I intend it to last. This current project in its current form is programmed to last for 18 years. I did the math, and I think I'm still going to be around. So fingers crossed and toes. By the way, say hello if you're watching. This is recorded, okay? So if you're watching the replay, great. Thanks for watching the replay. If you're watching live, then that's really nice too. Whatever the case is, leave a comment because it's really nice to know what's going on, who's there. And if you've got any questions as we look through some photographs, I'm going to get quickly onto some photographs because that's probably why you're here. But because this is a new show in a new series of shows, creative shows, I wanted to say a little bit about what I'm doing. So as usual, I had the crazy idea. I thought, okay, I'm going to do a different show each night. One is on photography. So that might be in the, that could be in the Creative Smartphone Photography Group. I'm sorry, these banners all look the same because I'm promoting a masterclass at the moment, but this is the Creative Photography Group. Then I'll do another show, another evening in the creative writing, blog and article writing. And of course, I'm going to do a show on creativity itself and all other sorts of creativity like art. That'll be another evening. And then I thought, oh my goodness, of course, I've been in Paris for so long. It's my inspiration. The Eiffel Tower is my muse. I need to do a show on Paris. So that's another evening. I've got to. This is a page. I need to sort this out. I need to get a proper group for Paris. Then I thought, but I've got a group called Today's the Day, where we share wonderful moments of our days so that we appreciate our lives as we're living them. Does that need a show? And then I realized I was quickly running out of days in the week. And there might be one or two people in my life who would actually like me to have no shows on certain days, like nothing at all. So on the way to the supermarket, I don't know where ideas come from, but mine came to me there. I thought, yep, it's a bit much. What about if I do 2 shows a week? So this is my current thinking. It might change tomorrow. Tuesdays, the photography show. Thursdays, the writing show. The next week, the creativity show. And on the Tuesday and on the Thursday, the Paris show. What do you think? Let me know. I know that I'm having problems with comments at the moment because I think people are commenting and I can't see. So that's my problem with my software. That's the way it is. But if you do want to comment now and I'll see if it shows up. So let me show you some photographs. I'm going to put a theme in the group each week, and it's going to be common across all my groups, all the 3 creative groups: writing, photography, and any creativity. I've got those 3 groups. So for example, this week it's massive cliche, love. So if you want to contribute a photograph on love or some writing on love or any other type of creativity in love, go to the appropriate group and you can do that. So I think I only have 1 contribution for the theme of love so far. And let's see if I can find it. There it is. Isn't that beautiful? Well, is it? Is it beautiful? Let me get rid of this thing. I'm just going to get rid of this bar as well. Get rid of the bookmarks bar. Give me more space for the images. So my thing is, I love all sorts of creativity and I encourage people to create as well. So I don't impose anything on anyone. I can give my opinion. That's all it is. And you can give yours, and yours is just as valid as mine. So here's a thing that's with amour written on it in French. And I don't know, I sort of aggressively said, yes, but is it nice? But you should only take half of what I say seriously ever. And then you've got to try and work out which half. So I like to be irreverent and, push you a little bit in your thoughts or whatever. And people can do the same with me. Here's a picture, and it was contributed by Beatrice. And it says amour on it. Well, it's not a heart. Hallelujah. There's no heart on a thing about love. I like it. I really like it. I mean, I do abstract stuff a lot. So I do abstract painting, and a lot of my photographs are a bit abstract. And this is cool because it's got a superb series of textures. I love the angle. And you've also got a couple of lines going down one way, and they're met or sort of stopped by that little diagonal line in the bottom right-hand corner, which very nicely gives the lines that are coming into it something to hit. And it just adds another little bit of interest. I love that angle. I love that little right-hand corner. And if you look at the left-hand corner in the bottom, it's exactly the same shape, but it's bigger. It covers almost all of the, let's say 2/3 of the bottom, whereas that little triangle on the right covers, let's say, 1/3 of the right-hand side. There's a hint of the red line going down in the bottom right-hand corner, but the whole of the angle wedge thing in the bottom left corner is the same color as the little red line. So I really love this. I love the blue as well. It's a really sort of rusty, soft, orangey orange. And then the blue is a very gorgeous, soft sort of blue, and it's got so much texture to it. And then it's got that other line in the middle, and then the texture changes slightly. It's very strange. I don't know what's happened. And it looks like the blue that is dominant in the bottom bit is there, but it's showing through a lot of red. And it looks like the orangey red is actually flowers. It's not rust at all, or leaves. So it's just absolutely fascinating. And it's pretty abstract, and slap bang in the middle, scrawled amour, 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 love, love, love. I like it a lot. And there's something about not putting a heart in something that is about love, isn't there? I certainly encourage people not to do what's normal. So putting a heart in a card for Valentine's Day, it's almost, if you didn't, you'd get hung, drawn and quartered. But wow, let's not put hearts in Valentine's cards and see what happens. I don't want to be held responsible for the consequences. Don't try that at home. So there you go. All of that blah, blah, just on one photograph. You see where this might go? But that's the only one that I got. I'm going to show you some of mine now. I'm going to show you where you can see them daily. Yeah, I'm definitely not getting comments here, unfortunately. It's a shame. I think I've got some comments, but I'm not seeing them. I don't know if I can actually see them like in a group somewhere. Where I actually am live. Where am I live? Yeah, I'm theoretically live here, and on my homepage, on my profile page, yeah, people are reacting, but I'm not getting them. So, that's the way it goes. I'll survive, I guess. Yeah, so those are supposed to be live. So I'm just going to refresh those and see what happens. So I would love you to contribute your stuff. So each week there will be a theme. Choose the group you like. If it's photographs, put it in the photography group. If it's writing, put it in the writing group. If it's other types of creativity, put it in the other one. Okay, I've got someone watching. Hello, someone, but I can't see your comments, unfortunately. And by the way, if you like the vibe in the general creativity group, I've got one comment here that I can see. It's from Thomas saying hi. But yeah. So if you like the vibe in the general creativity group, you don't want to just talk about photography or just writing, then contribute if you've got a photograph, contribute it in the creativity group. That's fine. Right. So this is my homepage, and every day, if you wish, you can see a new photograph of Paris. And they vary. They really do vary in going from sort of cute snapshot. Well, it's my stuff. But anyway, the sort of thing tourists might take, although my objective is to take shots that are better than the average tourist shot, and that's my objective for you as well. 2, strange scenes that you might find in urban Paris. For example, there's a lot of these sort of boxes next to railway stations and things, and they've got books in parks. And the idea is you take your old books and you put them in there, and you take a new one to read, except it won't be new, it'll be secondhand or fifth hand. And I actually really enjoy wandering around, dipping my nose into these things wherever I might find them, all over Paris and in the suburbs. It's amazing. You never know what you're going to find, but what you find is almost invariably curious old books, strange old books. I mean, if you look along the top there, I think the week before this was empty. The next week, if you look along the top there, can you see that row of brown books? These are the sort of books posh families have in expensive antique bookshelves to show off to their friends. And there's an entire set sitting there. Someone has just dumped the whole lot there. And those books might be worth quite a lot, or just look prestigious on your shelf. So, and then you've got, kiddies stuff. You've got crappy, cheap old novels. I picked this one up. I can't remember what it was called. And I opened it at random at a page. And, there's this sort of weird pencil drawing of something strange going on. And photographically speaking, that's fine. It's interesting. But always look for more. Always look for more. Make the photograph as interesting as you can. I've got my angles in there, which is kind of my trademark. I very rarely take a picture of something straight on because it just doesn't excite me as much as angles. I like the composition of the books in the thing already, with the sort of strict row along the top and then the sort of mishmash in the middle. And then there's a book, a wooden book at the bottom with a quote or something on it. And then on the right-hand side, someone has said, Jésus t'aime, oui toi, which means Jesus loves you, yes you. And I thought that's a funny sort of juxtaposition between a strange, slightly saucy book and then one of these scrawled on graffiti Jesus loves you things. So that is quite in stark contrast to the one I just showed you. And here's another one. This is Paris metro life. Metros are great places because you have all sorts except the real upper crust who don't use the metro. So you've got, people with their dogs, you've got all sorts, like I said. And the populations of the trains changes as you go along the line. For example, there's a line number 4 in Paris, and it goes through the center of Paris, so it's full of tourists at that point. It goes to the south, and there are some quite nice areas in the south. So, you've got people who maybe are getting off there or shoppers. And then in the north, it goes through some more working class areas, and you've got, the colors of people change, and the clothes of people change, and the language of people changes. And the likelihood of someone stealing your camera changes as well. So all of this on a single train line. So I'm really a big fan of traveling on trains, and in particular the metro, because of course the Paris metro it's my thing. What's your thing? By the way, your photography. Don't know why I can't see the comments. That's a shame. But your photography, what do you try to do with it? Is it sort of a fun amateur thing? You just wander out and take a few shots from now and then, or do you have themes? Do you have objectives? Do you shoot you go out and shoot a bunch of trees and you put them onto a poster all together, or is it kind of random? That'd be fun to know. So the thing I liked with this photograph is that who is weirder? The dog isn't weird, but you could almost say that the people are far weirder than the animal, and that's a pretty good subject. I don't want people to know that I'm taking their photograph. That's part of my philosophy. I was going to say, even if you can't even see their faces, so it wouldn't even matter if that was an issue. But my objective is for them not to know, for no one to be looking at me saying, "Oh, look at that guy. Is he taking my photograph?" That's not my street photography. So you have to develop techniques, and that's one reason why smartphone photography is so cool, because you can pretend you're phoning someone and be taking photographs. That's a pro tip there. And you can get all sorts of photographs when people don't think you're taking a photograph. This is a major reason why I pretty quickly dropped my big camera, not literally, although I have done, left my big camera at home and started taking photographs on my smartphone all the time, because I realized that, for one thing, I hardly ever had my big camera with me because it's too heavy. And secondly, it's so conspicuous, guy with camera. As soon as you see that, you think, I hope he isn't going to take my photograph. So the smartphone very, very quickly became my go-to tool because I always had it with me. There was a time at the beginning when the quality wasn't so great. It quickly got fine, especially for publishing on the internet. The photograph you're looking at here, it looks okay, the quality-wise, but there's not many pixels there. It's not 3,000 pixels. It's more like 900. So the quality is there now, and it's all about you as a photographer to get those shots. So just to remind you again, hello if you just started watching, hello if you're watching the replay. Do leave comments if you can, and I don't think I can see them now, but I will reply to them afterwards. And if you're watching the replay, leave comments as well. So I'm going to show you a few more of my photographs. This is part of a new show which I'll be doing maybe every 2 weeks, and it'll be part of the Creative Smartphone Photography group. And I would love you to contribute to our weekly theme or to anything. Okay, so I'm making it much more open. I'll put a weekly theme up. So for example, it might be love this week. You can post directly into the group. There's no thread. just put a nice big photograph with an explanation or a comment right in the group. There will be a tag so that I can keep them together. I think the tag is hashtag let love for this one. Yeah, you can see let love. Now, I've just started this, but I want people to leave a comment so that we have some sort of human interaction. Otherwise, it's just like a dumping site for photos. So post with a comment with the hashtag that I've given you, or just post anything at any time with a comment. So that's what I want the group to be. People constantly sharing their photos they're pleased with, or they want help with making better if they think it's not that good. Comment on other people's photographs. Do it at any time. There's not going to be threads. It's literally going to be just post in the group. So let me show you another. Just seeing if, no, there aren't any comments coming through. Sorry, I'm going to stop saying that. Yeah, so let me show you a few more photographs of mine. So you can see my daily photographs by chugging through my blog, if you wish. Okay, all right, here's one. By the way, this I saw this thing, it kept annoying me. I kept seeing these things called Wordle, and it seemed more and more people were posting these little grids with green and yellow and white blobs. And I thought, there's no way I'm ever going to do that. And then I think something came up. I saw it was literally a click away. And I thought, okay, I'm going to do the damn thing and see what happens. So I did it. And I won. In other words, I got the word in the number of guesses you're allowed. So I'm stopping there. That's fine for me. Okay, I've got a 100% record of success. You see, there's 100%. It says it, 100%. Maximum streak, okay, is 1. Current streak is 1. Number of times I've played is 1, and I've got a 1. That's the figure I'm focusing on. 100% success record, and I'm stopping there. So I'm going to stop while I'm winning. That could be something we could talk about in the writing group on Thursday. What about these Wordle things? I've got an idea to create my own, but we'll see about that. This is funny. This is on the church door. And if you didn't realize that God or his servants have got a sense of humor, think again. This says in French, il est possible qu'en entrant dans cette église, vous entendiez l'appel de Dieu. Par contre, il est peu probable qu'il vous contacte par téléphone. So that means it's possible that on entering this church, you will hear the call of God. However, it is really highly unlikely that he'll contact you by phone. So turn the damn things off. So that's pretty funny. When I publish in my Facebook page, I publish my writing as well. So that's going to be fodder possibly for the writing group and the photographs for the photo group. Another one. This was the first of a new chapter. Look at this dark, foreboding landscape. Don't you think it could be like something out of the Lord of the Rings or something? Well, it's not. It's out of Lord of the Parks in Paris. And this is a good example of playing around with images. I call what I do sabification, because I'm called Sab. So I say that I sabify my photographs. I could also say that I sabotage them. What do you do with your photographs? Do you print them as is? Do you publish them as is? Click publish? Or do you have a bit of fun playing around with them? There's different types of playing around. You could play around by changing the colors and making them crazy. Or you could play around with them simply cropping it a bit. If there's too much blue sky, get rid of that without changing the image itself at all, except for that. It's up to you. There are no rules. That's the wonderful thing. There's no rules. There's no right. There's no wrong. My definition of whether it's a good photograph or not is very simple. Do you like it? Do you like your own photograph? If the answer is yes, well, that's good. And if it's no, well, okay. But even that doesn't make it a good or bad photograph. That's just your opinion of your own photograph. So the point is, if you're happy with it, then it's good. And don't listen to anybody else. Nobody else's opinion has the slightest importance in terms of whether you're pleased with it or not. Of course, you might be listening to me now. I might comment on your photograph. If you think that it would be interesting to hear other people's opinions, then go for it. I hope you do, because that's what I would like to do. I would like to comment on photographs and say what I like about them and what could maybe be changed, to try out and see if you like a different approach better. But fundamentally, take your photographs and enjoy the fact that you've taken them. Share them. People will like it because they like people who share their stuff. That's it. So look at this. This is in a Paris park. Pretty cool Paris park. It's called 𝗏𝗡𝗔𝗦𝗡, and it was an old quarry. See, this is the sort of stuff I'll be talking about in my Paris show, for sure. But it all melds together nicely, doesn't it? So this is an amazing park. It was on an old quarry, and I think they dynamited. I should read my own text, actually, because I talk about that here. They dynamited a kind of the hill or the mountain or the rocks or whatever, and they left just these bits, which people can, the one the bridge is going over to, you can actually go up there to that little belvedere at the top and have a great view of Sacré-Cœur, amongst other things. So that's great. So what did I do? Well, guess what? There's an angle now. I'll probably say this for the rest of my life. You'll notice there's an angle, and I've just played around. You know, there's an echo of the citadel thing there, the little hut there in the top of this. The top of them is almost identical, if you see that. So isn't it nice to play with those? One is bigger and closer, but it's not so ornate. It's just a bit of rock. And then the angle going down leads to a smaller version of it in a way, but one that's been created by humans. I don't think they would have made the top of that roof the same shape as this, but that's the art of the photographer. That's what we add. We put things together that no one has seen together in that way before. I guess I could have had the photo straight, but I wouldn't have been able to fit everything in either. That's another thing. And I didn't want all the bridge, and I wanted the middle bit of the bridge here, this bit here. I wanted this to be coming directly to us, almost hitting us in the stomach, because we can now imagine ourselves leaning on the edge of that bridge, looking at this view as well. If you give people leading lines that lead them into the photograph, this is one technique for letting them feel that they're almost there. They're almost just on the point of entering into the shot, which is really cool. There are other ways of doing that as well. And I played around with the colors. So part of the sabification process, by the way, whatever your name is, just add ify to it. So if your name is Teeny, you could say that I teenify my photographs. If your name is Thomas, you could say I Thomasify or I Thomasage my photos. So you can have fun deciding what your particular touch to your photographs is. And I say that only half joking, because what you do to your photographs is unique. For a start, your photographs are unique. No one else has taken that photograph. No one was there at that time of day, in that weather, with those feelings inside them, having lived that lifetime. Every photograph you take is unique. So never think, oh, it's just like somebody else's. It's not. But then you can add to it. You can even go further and decide, I'm going to, do some crazy colors or have a special effect. This is all part of the process, but it's unique to you. No one will have taken this photograph. I'll talk from my point of view. No one has taken this photograph from this angle at this time. I think my son was next to me, so they didn't have my son next to them. They didn't have this angle. They didn't have this weather, this temperature, this number of leaves not on the trees, and they didn't apply this special effect which makes it look kind of sepia and mean and moody. You can do this with every single photograph. I recommend you choose. My recommendation is a photograph a day. If you're a keen photographer, I recommend a photograph a day. I'll probably say that regularly, so I won't go into details, but for me, that's what I do. So all I'm saying is that's what I do, and it's cool. I really enjoy it, and it's automatic. It's as automatic as brushing my teeth. So if you say you're a photographer, well, you've got to take photographs. Otherwise, you're not a photographer. Photographers take photos. You could say, well, I do it from time to time. Okay, fine, that's great. It just depends how far you want to go. And I'm suggesting to you that if you get to the point, if you really want to take a lot of photographs. It's really important to you. You love it. You like sharing them. You want this to be really a thing that you do. Well, how are you going to do that regularly so that you really do produce good work on a regular basis? Well, my recommendation is to commit to something regularly. For example, you could commit to posting a photograph in the group every week. I mean, you could do it every day if you like. I do it every day. You could do it every week. Less than a week? Less than once a week? Okay. The danger with less than a week is a really good routine, isn't it? Because it's got a very clear structure. Apart from the day, which is a structured cycle, the next biggest structured cycle is the week. You know, a lot of us, we work for 5 days and we have 2 days break at the weekend. So you need to use this as your gauge. So when I'm coaching people on being creative, whatever their creativity is, I say, look, choose one of those cycles, once a day or once a week, and do it, stick to that, because otherwise the danger is you'll go for the next cycle. Once you've missed a week, you can miss any number of weeks. What's the next clear cycle? Well, it might be a bit artificial, but it's a month. Okay, that's the next significant thing. You could talk about the cycle of the moon, which would be quite cool, but the thing we think of most is the month. Well, a month, you're producing one thing a month. You're not really reaching your true potential, because even the greatest writers would say, or the greatest poets, or the greatest painters, or the greatest anything, I think, the people we think of as great, well, for each amazing thing that we see of theirs, there were probably 99 that we wouldn't think were so good. But maybe the one that was really amazing, maybe that was number 100. So, for example, I publish every day. Maybe 1 out of 100 photographs is really, really great photograph, as agreed by many people. 1 out of 100. So, well, maybe I have to do 99 shots, which nobody think are particularly good, to get to that amazing one. But the amazing ones are waiting to pop out, because don't forget, there's an element of luck involved too. You know, a luck of a whole bunch of things, including having your camera with you when there's a great shot to be taken. So a great shot will come even despite you. You know, if you're taking enough shots, let's say you haven't found your style, or you don't think you're particularly good at photography, even then a great shot might just happen by chance, but you've got to be taking the shots. So that's my recommendation. Commit to once a week, once a day, or once a week, minimum once a week. If you kind of think, yeah, but why would I do that? Well, give yourself a theme. Decide that I'm going to be the photographer. I'm going to do like some of the great painters, like Monet. He painted, I think it was Rouen Cathedral, that cathedral, like 20 or 50 times or something. It's crazy. Why would you do that? And yet each time he painted it, it was different colors, different lighting. So, you know, I won't go into too much detail now. I want to show you some more photographs. And again, tragedy, I can't see your comments, but that's the way it is. Have I got comments here? I'm getting reactions. Yeah, okay. All right. So you can follow those. But what I'm going to do now is I'm going to show you my website. And I think, no, I haven't got I haven't got that one. Let me go back to my homepage again. Okay, this is an example of a double exposure, except not exactly. It's one photograph superimposed on another. Play around with the balance, and suddenly you've got 2 Sabs waiting on 2 chairs at the bottom of some strange stairs. And that one inspired a poem. It's going to be difficult for me to only talk about photographs, but I promise I won't go into detail on the writing, because the photography side will get diluted, and I've got another group for the writing. But I'll just show you from time to time. That inspired a poem. And this poem was for somebody who is sick at the moment. And that's one thing that really inspires me when I've got someone in mind that I'm doing something for. Almost always my writing is white, just white. This time I decided to play around a little bit. And this person is a bit of a mermaid, a bit of a diver. She dives with dolphins and sharks and things. So I tried to get into the mood of that. And I called it Waiting for Christina, because I'm waiting for her to come and visit me in Paris, and she hasn't come yet. So you see, creativity just exploded. It's a combination of me having a photograph, something coming to influence me, giving me an emotional drive, and then, you know, other elements coming from here and there to produce something out of the ordinary, something extraordinary. And it's not so hard to do. You've just got to do it. Do anything that you wouldn't have done, and it'll be extraordinary, won't it? If ordinary is, you never take photographs with much of a thought, except family snaps, and you go out one Sunday afternoon and you take a picture of a flower in the park close up with a nice angle, that's extraordinary, because you wouldn't normally have done it. Go for the extraordinary. It's really easy to do if you believe you can. Let me show you a few more, chugging through here. This is a chapter of my photographs, and so I put them together in the groups of 9. So I found a theme. You can find a theme for yourself as well. A structure. So my structure is a grid of 3x3 photos, which I think is quite fun. You've got all these strange photographs together. Sometimes they go together well, sometimes they don't. Sometimes I try to plan them in the grid. But the thing is, I'm doing them day after day, so I can't always see what the whole grid is going to look like before the end of it. So, you know, it's kind of a balancing act. For example, the legs here on the walkway are at an extreme angle, like, let's say a 45-degree angle, more or less. The strange sculpture in the middle, the hand holding the strange Jeff Koons flowers, is at a slight angle. And then back to the other angle for the thing in the top right, this strange sculpture. And those 3 photographs are in an angle, a diagonal angle, from the top right to the bottom left. So there's things like that. There's a dash of red at the top here. Well, a big dash of red at the top and a little dash of red at the bottom. And this bottom half of the top middle one, you've got this big band of red, and then you've got this kind of dark bitumen or tarmac or whatever it is. It's a platform. And if you look in the bottom one, you've got a big bank of green at the bottom, and then you've got a similar kind of dark area. It just so happens that there's a train screaming towards us with a nice red front on it, which is unusual. I've never seen that before. There you are. I was in the right place at the right time, and I clicked. Then you've got, you know, you can see links between practically anything if you try hard enough. So that's what I'm doing now. But maybe I was thinking of this. Here in the top left, you've got a strange ghostly figure, seems to be running away from these seats, and off to the left. And down in the bottom right, you've got some feet, and you've got a dog heading off to the bottom of the frame there. So there's a couple of people in movement in the top left and the bottom right. I think it's quite nice in the bottom right. You'll notice the bottom right and the bottom left have both got legs at angles, opposing angles, slightly, a bit like this. That kind of closes off those 2 corners. And there's something about the bottom of an image. We expect to see feet normally, don't we? And at the top of an image, a picture of someone, we expect to see the heads. So sometimes I put feet or the ground on the bottom row and heads on the top. Sometimes I don't, and I always try to find a nice one to go in the middle, you know, a striking one. So I like these flowers. They're pretty cool. And it's a crazy statue. And I've got people in there as well. I wanted people. So I thought that was a nice one for the middle. So sometimes I build out from the middle. I think, okay, for the next chapter, the next series of 9, what's going to go in the middle? Then I work out from there, looking at tones and colors and things. If you look at the top one, top middle and the bottom middle, there's quite a lot of horizontal lines in those. So that might have been another reason why I put those 2 opposing each other. Okay, I'll just look at a few more and then we'll call it a night. Thanks for watching. If you're watching live or on the replay, I really appreciate it. And this is something I do on my page, my Facebook page. I ask people to say which ones they like the best and why. So that's another way. Maybe I should do that in the photo group as well. It's a way of getting people to think about photography, think about why they like some photographs and don't like others. And that can help you when you're taking photographs, because you can think, no, I didn't like that. It didn't work. I'm going to try something different. So you can vote on those, not vote, there's no competition, but you can just say, oh, I like number 5 because it's amazing to see that like that. You can talk about what's in the photograph, or you can talk about the photograph itself, like the art that I've tried to create. This is another one. I'm actually going to move over to my website to finish off now. So this is 𝗏𝗏𝗡𝗏𝗏, and if I click here, it should go nice and big. Yeah, it's not too bad. And I publish every day, so you're going to get a huge amount of variety. And also, within this big project of publishing every day for 18 years, there's a reason for that, by the way, I can tell you another time, is that there are mini projects within it. For example, there have been times in the last 4 years, I've devoted the whole 9 photo grid to one theme. And I've even played games amongst the photographs sometimes, once or twice. Or it's a kind of a mishmash. So I must admit, it's a mixture. I do try to get the photographs having some sort of coherence as a group of 9. I don't go further than that. I don't go up to the 9 times 9, 81 level. That's just completely random. But within the grid, this is where I take my creative composition attempts. I take it up to this level if I can. Talking of the mini projects that I have within this big project are self-portraits and certain things which I take regularly. For example, the Eiffel Tower. So basically that's it. The Eiffel Tower and me. Me because I'm always with me. And also there's a very good reason for taking photographs of yourself regularly, only if you think the same way as I do. And that is, you see yourself getting older. There's 2 things. One is you see yourself getting older. So you kind of come to terms with that. But you're kind of pleased with it because you're being creative as you're getting older. As you're going through your life, you're being creative on a regular basis. So the other challenge is I mustn't take any photograph of me that looks anything like the one before or the one after or any of the others. That's a huge challenge. I often tell the story of this guy. He was one of the most famous bloggers in France for a while, back when blogs started. And he'd struck on this idea. He was going to be the, I think it was the 909 man. So his thing was, he had a blog and he published a photograph every day. And it was a photograph of him at 9:09. 9 minutes past 9 in the morning, every day. It got a lot of press because it was a gimmick. It was funny, what a funny thing to do. And, the photographs, you could see his face, the expression changed and stuff. But I think the flaw in that was that at 9 minutes past 9, it seemed like practically every day he was in the lift going up to work. So there was a limited scope for how amazing that could be, especially as a spectator and as a creator as well, I think. For me, I've got the whole of Paris as my tapestry, plus elsewhere. I might take, if you look at the bottom right there, that's a photograph in my room. So, it hangs together because it's my project, but it doesn't have to be Paris. But the whole thing, it's When Lady Eiffel Smiles. These are the Paris Photo Chronicles. I've found my thing. I enjoy it. I could have found another thing. I happen to find this thing. It's fine for me. I encourage you to find a thing. You don't have to. It just depends how passionate you are about it, how far you want to go. And having a thing, like having a theme, is cool because it gives you a reason to do something. You become known as a person who does that. And you can also see these milestones. Now that I've got this, every time I finish a chapter, in other words, 9 photographs, in other words, 9 days, I get a bit of a little boost. I feel great. I've done another chapter. And to be honest, I need a kick every day. I am terribly impatient. I need to feel a win every day. And my win every day is to publish a photograph with its text. That's it. So every single day, I've got a win. That's kind of why I created the group called Today's the Day, a Facebook group called Today's the Day. Sorry, they've all got the same banner. Normally they have different ones. And in this group, people publish something about their day. You can do it up to once a day. And the idea is that you appreciate your days, the days of your life, as you're living them, because one of them will be the last one. So it's like completing a project, and I coach people on completing projects. I'm just starting my creative Infinite Creativity Now masterclass, starting today or yesterday. You can join now. And it's about finishing projects as much as anything. And how do you finish a project? How do you do it? Well, you do exactly the same thing that you've done for the last few days or weeks or months. It's just that on one of those days, there won't be anything more to do. You'll have finished. So it's a bit like this. One day our life will be finished. And, will we have noticed? Would we have thought that was going to be the last day? Oops, wish I'd done a bit more. So I'm in this group. You can explicitly decide to do more, to do something cool every day and to notice it. And then by the end, you'll think, yeah, I had a good life. Every single day I did something cool. So that's my Today's the Day group. And I'd love you to join that as well. So, yeah. So some of these are about Paris, which I'll be including in my Paris show. So, for example, this one on the top right. By the way, if you go down here, you've got the individual photographs. So you can click on this and get it nice and big. And if you're into the writing, you can't read the writing there. But if you click there, you can read the writing quite well, I think. And so this one was just in some random, not a suburb, but one of the arrondissements of Paris. And there was, in the last few days, there'd been a bit of a hoo-ha about the French president. France took the presidency of the European Union for 6 months. And to celebrate this, they lit some of the most famous monuments, like the Eiffel Tower, Hôtel de Ville, the Arc de Triomphe in blue, the same color as the European flag. And for a couple of days, they put the European flag up under the arch of the Arc de Triomphe, but without the French flag. Oh my God, mon Dieu, c'est pas possible. And of course, all the people, the politicians, there's an election coming up, and all the politicians who are against Macron, the current president, used it as ammunition to say, oh my God, he's so un-French. He doesn't love the French. He wants to be king of Europe. He sold the French to Europe. And so that was a bit funny. So when I came across this in the street, I had that in mind. And there's something intriguing. There's something I'm impressed with this photograph. And when I say that, it doesn't matter who took it. I'm impressed by images that I love, that strike me. And this is one of them. It just happened to be me that took it. It could have been you. And those lines, the lines of the building, they're wonderful. It's so pure. I think it was silver metal panels or something, with those 4 dots on, gives it a real character. And you've got these 2 vicious spikes sticking up, and on them 2 rather sad flags. One is all crumpled all over the mast or the flagpole, and the other one is sort of hanging limply after having turned around a while. And it's kind of funny to see them like that. They're both looking kind of sad, and it's the European one and the French one. So that tied in nicely with my story of what I just told you. Quite a pure photograph, very few colors. There's the bright red, the bright blue, and then it's pretty much white with tones of subtle greenishness. It's rather pleasing. I like it a lot, this photograph. And then it's got a funky border on as well. Under my theme comes all sorts of things. For example, I happened to be doing a challenge, and I said I challenged people to create for 3 days in a row. And if they did, I said I would send them a postcard. But not just any old postcard, I sent them this. I sent them a postcard decorated by hand with some really cool, lovely French stamps on. And, I signed it. It's got an Eiffel Tower thing. It's got a heart because it's a Valentine's Day challenge. This merited a postcard. So, this merited being a photo of the day. It might be something completely different like this. They're actually covering over a railway line that goes out of Paris. They're covering it over and building a brand new quarter on top. This is part of that. On the bottom half of the photo, on the hoardings, the metal things covering the building works, is something very topical. It's the French election coming up. This guy, called Philippe Poutou, He gets around about 1% of the vote whenever he runs for anything, the presidency. He's running for president. He calls himself an unemployed worker who is a candidate for the French presidency, who is also anti-capitalist and revolutionary. So do you think he's going to get more than 1% this time? Not sure. But there he is, calling for, revolution, and there's bits of stuff like, let's be solidary with our fellow country people, and whoever comes is welcome, and fighting racism and that sort of stuff. So it's a nice colourful splash. It's the same. It's almost an echo of those three sections of the black thing above it, don't you think? With the one on the right, if you look at the building, the one on the right has a space between it, a space between there, and there's a crane there, space between there and the other two. And his poster, I've just seen this now, by the way. That happens a lot. Go back to your photographs, you'll see things you hadn't seen. And this one on the right has a gap between it and then the other two posters. It's a small thing, but differences and exceptional differences are made from small things. And I've just seen another thing which is perhaps vaguely pleasing. There's a dash of red on the crane there, which can echo slightly the dash of the lot of red on the poster. And there's a dash of red in the bottom there on a piece of paving stone. I'll just look at these and then finish. So I did try to put these as diagonals. Diagonals are lovely. So for example, the diagonal of this one with those massive, black, menacing, horrible looking buildings being constructed. This is also a building, which is maybe not the most beautiful one you've ever seen. But it's been kind of made beautiful by this this sculpture of a swift. I think it's a swift. And even that is made out of metal. So even that is kind of industrial, but it's, desperately trying to make industrial stuff look like it's natural. It's not a real bird. It's just bits of metal. But there is a bit of real nature on the right there. There's a bit of a tree. Maybe that's where the bird's heading. So, urban photography is just wonderful because there is nature in urban places, but it's kind of strange. Here it's metal pretending to be a bird, but there's a little bit of nature just sneaking in on the right there. Above the building, it's nature. That's the sky. It's been sabified, but that's the sky. So there's a bit of nature there as well. So that's one diagonal I tried to have. And then I tried to have another diagonal between the middle right and the bottom middle. So you can see these poles. The two photos are at an angle. They've both got similar bits of red. By the way, so has this one on the left. So there's a kind of bit of red thing going on there. And the pole there is at an angle. And at an opposing angle, it's actually at a 90-degree angle to that pole, are these three poles. They're smaller, but there's three of them. This one's bigger, but there's only one of it. And they're almost at a right angle to each other. So that's kind of cool as well. There's another one behind it as well. And this is just another metro shot. I shouldn't say just, because I tell people off for saying this is just something. No, this is another metro shot. Why did I think it was worth taking? Well, you tell me. Do you think it was worth taking? I just love what's going on in life, just people living their lives. Obviously, the girl with the she looks like she's I don't know what you're supposed to call people, depending. Am I allowed to say that I'm a white person? Is she a black person? I honestly don't know anymore. And to be honest, as a photographer, I don't care. What is. And as a writer as well, I don't really care. I think labels are completely pointless and ridiculous and hilarious. So, especially things like skin color. But, we use them. They exist. So anyway, there's this girl on the right with wild hair. I mean, it doesn't look like a colored girl's hair. It's not black and curly. It's the opposite. It's screamingly yellow and straight. So it's maybe not her hair. That's so funny. And if you look closely on this photograph, you can't quite see, but she's actually got her eyes are almost crossed. She's got her phone so close to her nose that her eyes are crossed looking at the screen. And then there's some sort of mystery figure with this, not strange, but this funny red hat sitting there. You wonder what's going on there. I mean, nothing's going on, but maybe, I don't know. You just imagine. When you can't see someone's face, you can only imagine. I'll tell you something about this photograph, a secret. It's not quite what it appears to be. the people are actually wider than they appear, because in order to get this, I've chosen squares as my thing. My photography, my writing, I present my poetry and stuff all on squares. So I don't necessarily write square poems, but my photographs are always square. And sometimes I've got a photograph that I love so much, I want it to be part of my photos, but my photos are square and it is long. So sometimes I cheat and I squish it. So this one was too long to have the person with the red hat and the girl with the phone in the photograph exactly where I wanted them. It was too long. It was a landscape format. So I squished them. So they are actually, in the photograph, they are thinner than they really are. They were fatter. Their faces were, the girl's face wasn't like this. It was like this. But you can do that because there are no rules. If you think there are rules, you're a fool. There aren't rules. If you want rules, make them up for yourself. Don't have anyone else's to tell you that your photograph isn't really cool. Because if you think it is, then it is. In the middle, I chose a striking one in the middle. By the way, look at this diagonal going from top bottom to top bottom. I'm getting tired. Top right to bottom left. Can you see anything about that? It's easier to see maybe on this one. Can you see? It's a slash of overpoweringly white photographs. And this came from an idea of putting this white one in the middle, the one that is only white with black. I thought, I wonder if I've got two other photographs that I could make a diagonal where they're predominantly white or there's a lot of white, and I found them. The one in the bottom left is one of the self-portraits I was telling you about, the perturbing self-portraits throughout my life. I call it creative disintegration because I'm watching myself creatively disintegrate over the years. And I had another one of this. It was more, the tones were reversed and it was much darker. I love it. But I decided to use the white one predominantly white, because it fit in with the angle. And I publish a self-portrait every 10 photographs. Often I'm in Paris, so it fits in with the Paris theme, and often I'm not. In this case, it was someone had given me a sort of Dior thing, promotional thing, like to wish me happy 2022. And I don't know if I've got it here. It's this. Nice, huh? What do you think? But it's actually pure solid gold cardboard. But it's the thought that counts. So I played around with that and I got this out of it. Pretty wild, isn't it? Pretty crazy photograph. So that made my bottom left because it had to fit in with I wanted the diagonal, but as it happened, the bottom left was my self-portrait. All my self-portraits finish with the number 1. You see, it's number 1501. So that had to be a self-portrait, but it also had to be white, and I found it. And in the top right was the one I showed you before. And the one in the middle is pretty wild, and the original photograph is pretty boring. I thought it would be cool, but it wasn't. Not for me anyway. You know, I saw these sort of diagonal. It's a brand new station. It's a 𝗏𝗔𝗏𝗏 𝗏𝗔𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏, something like that. So it's a brand new station on the metro line. It's just been built, just opened a couple of weeks ago. So my son and I went to visit it. That's my son, by the way. Filling in that top right-hand corner rather splendidly. My son is obsessed by trains, so he was okay for this trip. And this is a new station. And there were lots of lines because of the lines themselves and all the things that followed the lines. And then there was this one diagonal slashing down. But I took it and I thought, well, you know, I like the lines, but the photograph itself is really boring. I don't like the colors. There's nothing that stands out. Even my son didn't stand out. So I thought, okay, let's do something I don't normally do. And this is the result. I'm quite known for my hugely saturated, heavy, impressive colors. Is often my photographs are very, very colored. So isn't it nice to not do colored photographs from time to time? So yeah, I'm going to leave it at that. Well, actually, I'll show you this one at the bottom is a personal one because it's from my sofa and it's my stuff, you might be able to see something rather strange in this photograph. I showed this to someone today and they were describing the photograph because I do some English training. They were describing the photograph. They described a bunch of stuff. I think this is that, I showed them the Eiffel Tower. They didn't know it was my place. And I said, well, look at this. Do you recognize it? And they said, oh, it's you. It's your place. And then they said, oh, and there's some shelves. And on top of the shelves, I can see a painting. It's a painting of a cat with some sort of shapes around it. And I said, yeah, it's a painting with some shapes around it, but it isn't a painting of the cat. That's a cat. So that was funny. So that's a bit of a personal one. And then this is a personal one as well. So there's a kind of an echo in the top right, top left and bottom right of, because I created those myself and I'm sending them off to people around the world. Isn't that wonderful? I have no interest in creating if it's not to be shared. And if you notice, I did a tiny little other thing to try and make this chapter hang together. I put red borders on these two. So that one's got a red border. Going down diagonally, that one's got a red border. Well, rather, I should say a border that matches the predominant color in the photograph. And then finally, it's a bit like one of those chess moves. It's like there's two there and there's another one there. So I put a red border around this one as well. And those were my creative efforts for the last week. So I'm just going to sum up the whole thing. Yeah, it's gone for an hour. I should have known that it would, even though if I'm on my own. I always seem to find something to talk about. So this is the first of some new photography shows. They will take place on my Facebook profile and on YouTube and in the smartphone photography group. I would like you to join the smartphone photography group if you're interested in smartphone photography or any sort of photography. And you can post your photographs at any time. There's themes or just post at any time. If you're interested in writing, read the thing here. I'm going to change the banner. I was just promoting something. Creative blog and article writing group. This is for you if you love writing, if you love words. And I'll do a live probably on Thursday, probably this Thursday, I'll do a live talking about words. And obviously showing lots of examples. And again, I'd like you to contribute your words to this. There'll be the same weekly theme across all my creative groups. This week it's love. And post your words at any time, either on the theme or off theme. A direct post, a new one, not a thread, so that we can get everybody's work is in people's faces and it'll be really cool. There will be a hashtag to label it though for the weekly theme. And then the other one is all other types of creativity. So this is called the Infinite Creativity Now group. And it's for other types of creativity which aren't photography and writing. But if you like the vibe of this group, post your writing and photos. That's fine. It doesn't matter. And there's also in this group, there's more of a focus on creativity itself, how to be more creative, how to be more productive. Then I've got another group. It's called Today's the Day. Check it out. It's a beautiful group. We appreciate our lives day by day. And my other crazy idea is to have a show called the Paris Set Me Free show. And it's going to be based, I think I've got a group called Paris Set Me Free. I can't remember. And it's going to be me blabbering on for about an hour, as usual, about Paris, everything that's happening in Paris at the moment, but not tourist events, not, fashion shows, weird stuff, statues that have been chopped in half, or exhibitions of glass balls, or amazing drain covers. It's my Paris. It's not somebody else's Paris. So that will be another thing. And I'm hoping to start that show next week. So there you go. I hope in some small or big way I've inspired you to be creative. By the way, this is on at the moment. This is starting this week and you can join. So you can join right now. You need to go to, if you're interested in this, it's a masterclass and it's called the Infinite Creativity Now Masterclass. So if you go to infinitecreativitynow.com/create, you can join this. It's an amazing masterclass and you will get a wonderful creative project out of your head and into the world to share in 9 weeks in amazing, fun, cool, company, very small group we have. So it's a very intimate thing. So if you want to go for that, you can. That's been me. That's been the end of the first in the new series of the, what did I call it again? I called it the Creative Smartphone. Now, a lot of stuff to get rid of here. It's the Creative Smartphone Photography Show. Right now, I'm thinking it's going to be about once every 2 weeks. Me chatting about my photographs, your photographs, and any other photographs that have come along which I think are worth chatting about. And I hope to see you there. Thanks for watching. Sorry again, the comments didn't work. Normally I have lots of interaction. Something's happened there. I've got to check it out. Appreciate it. Thanks for being creative, and happy creating, you guys. And talk to you soon. Bye for now.